the one thing I don't like about Elon is he's supposed to be loyal.
The one thing that I don't like about Elon is he's not loyal? What the f***?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Sean O'Brien is the international president of the Teamsters Union, and he also has a podcast, Better Bad Ideas, on YouTube.
That's right. And by the way, President O'Brien, you are welcome to appear on this program.
Yep.
We know since you do a podcast, hey, we also do a podcast. This show is available as a podcast. And we'd love to have
We're
you on
also
the
on the radio, though.
We are on the radio.
However, if it matters to you about getting listeners and, people hearing you, we're on 5 radio stations in 3 states.
That's very true, and a growing online audience that we love and appreciate. And so you're welcome to appear on the program. We'd love to have you.
So he interviewed Vivek Ramaswamy, who's, like, right now, the thing that most people know for him is that he was a part of DOGE. Right? That is the thing that most people know about Vivek Ramaswamy. And so he talked a little bit about DOGE, and we'll react to that. But it was very, it's just so frustrating seeing this interview because they promoted this interview, a couple of days before it came out. And they promoted it by sharing a clip where they were talking about DOGE, and he starts like, set the record straight on DOGE or whatever. And so in the clip, that they're using to promote this this podcast episode, they don't really say that much about it, except that I don't like being a number 2, which is just so stupid. But Sean O'Brien has not had a federal employee on to talk about DOGE. Sean O'Brien has not had any of his fellow union leaders on to talk about DOGE. Why the hell would you talk to the billionaire scammer boss, Vivek Ramaswamy, about DOGE instead of talking to a worker or the leaders of unions like AFGE or IFPTE? Like, why would you do that? What purpose does that serve? And I say that Vivek is a scammer because that's how he made his money, right? Newsweek has some reporting on him about how he was trying to develop an Alzheimer's drug. In 2015, Ramaswamy appeared on CNBC to praise the drug and to praise the company and its going public, which increased Ramaswamy's kind of good press statements about it was a big part of the reason that the company soared to over $30 a share based on the Alzheimer's drug. But the developments fell apart. Despite that, the company acquired the drug. Another company acquired the drug for $5 million. And 6 months before they went public, the majority of the trials failed to meet their end goals. Right? So this drug had already failed to meet trials, and then they tried to do a new trial involving more people, and that trial conveniently claimed to demonstrate sufficient improvement to support phase 3 trials, and that was when, he made a bunch of money and blah, blah, blah. So basically, he is alleged to have done a pump and dump sort of thing by taking this drug that failed trials and trying to fix another trial to make it look like there's promise there where it had already been proven that there wasn't, and then going public, making a bunch of money on the increased share price, and then ultimately the company decreases by 99% in value. But investors suffered significant loss, but Ramaswamy profited from a higher media profile, IPO payouts, and the sale of remaining Axivant assets in 2020, right? So he comes in, he takes this distressed asset, he pumps it up, he makes a bunch of money, he gets a bigger profile, and then he sells everything off and he walks away. So this is kind of like a scummy guy. This seems like a pretty scummy guy. And so let's play this clip and I'm going to play you the entirety of the time that they talk about Doge, which, spoiler alert, it's not enough. Like, if you're going to have one of the guys behind Doge, look, Ramaswamy could come on the podcast. It would not be nearly as friendly of a thing as his conversation with Sean O'Brien, because I think he's done a lot of negative things to the world. But, there's value in having one of the people behind Doge and getting them to answer questions, but you need to actually get them to answer questions. So let's play clip 4.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
Set the record straight on Doge.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
A lot to talk
Did
about.
you and Elon butt heads? Is that why you didn't accept it?
Well, do two people who are, let's just say have entrepreneurs with different visions, have slightly different perspectives
But that was
on how things should be
you
done?
didn't even go day one.
Well, we went to 2.5 months.
Right.
2.5 months.
transition.
We were. That was around the clock, 2.5 months. And, I left my imprint on a couple of things that I thought needed to get done. But I would tell you the number one takeaway is you put President Trump, Elon, myself, I think we share a few things in common, which is that each of us does not make for a good number 2.
Right.
Okay. So I know I'll speak for myself. I won't even speak
Right,
for them.
but look,
I don't make for a good number 2.
The reality
And so
is, look, we're not-
for me, there's some things
We're not number 2 guys.
yeah, we're not cut out that way, right? So you got to
But-
know that about
but,
self-analysis.
pause it for a
Best.
second. What the hell, Sean O'Brien? Oh, we're not number 2 guys. Me and you, we're the same. Like, what the hell? You should not be able to go back and forth with this scammer billionaire boss and be like, oh, we're not cut out to be number 2s. We're so bright and special and so smart and great. And also, we're still not talking about any of the implications of Doge, any of the people that Doge has killed, any of the federal employees who have been hurt by Doge, any of the American public who has faced decreased service from the Doge cuts. We're not talking about any of that. We're just talking about, Vivek is just such a big, strong boy, and he's so smart and special that he just can't be a number 2. That's just too hard for him. What the hell? Let's continue.
I think everybody could tell. And, the one thing I don't like about Elon is, he's supposed to be loyal.
Yeah.
Whether you like the president,
Okay, just pause it for a second. The one thing that I don't like about Elon is he's not loyal? What the fuck? That is nuts. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. One of the leaders of one of the biggest unions in the country, who likes to position himself as Mr. Militant. The one thing, to be fair to Sean O'Brien, I've heard other criticisms that he's had of Elon Musk. And so, this is just people say the one thing that I have, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of it's a speech pattern and blah, blah, blah. But still, the idea that those words could come out of your mouth. And the one thing that I don't like about Elon Musk is that he's not loyal enough. Not that he has busted his employees' unions. Not that he sexually harasses his employees and creates an environment of sexual harassment and racist thuggery at his workplaces. Not that he puts his employees at increased danger. None of that. The one thing that I don't like about Elon Musk is that he's not loyal to Trump. That is nuts. That is absolutely nuts. Let's continue.
Someone's loyal to me, I'm going to be loyal to you. Once he didn't get his way, it seemed like he started kicking and screaming, and then he starts attacking the president,
Yeah,
right?
look,
And that, no, I'm just telling
I'm
you.
going to leave that because I have nothing to do with either.
No, but I get it. But my point is, did you see this coming before the inauguration?
What I will say is, after a lot of reflection, it was crystal clear that certain people, myself included, are not cut out to be a number 2. And so for myself, I knew I was going to be at my best in leading from the front back in my own home state. And by the way, totally good terms with both of them. President Trump, both of them actually endorsed me on day one.
Right.
And so, we're great friends all around. But my advice to anyone else out there is Anybody else who's similar like me, not cut out to be a number two, don't put yourself in that position.
All right, so I got a couple more questions. We'll wrap it up real quick. This will be like rapid fire.
Okay,
You're
yeah. So pause it
pro-union.
right there, and that is like we're gonna listen to the rest of this. That there's like he asks one more like union kind of question, but that's it. You have a guy whose like biggest claim to fame right now. If you ask just a normal person, Vivek Ramaswamy, what did he do? He was part of DOGE. That's it. That is all of the questions that you have for him. Not anything about how you disrespected federal employees, how you're disobeying federal law, how you are putting veterans in harm's way by trying to destroy the VA. I mean, none of that. It's just so freaking I mean, how... I seriously do not understand how you can be a union leader and not press him on those things. Because, and look, I am a union member. I mean, I think, definitionally, I'm a union leader in Alabama. I'm a president of a labor council. I am not naive to the political inclinations of some union members, right? And so, like, it is one thing if you have different opinions about social issues, I think. You have different thoughts about stuff, whatever. I'll disagree with you and I'll fight with you about it. And I will also fight with you about how I believe my positions on social issues are rooted in the thing that drives unionism, which is solidarity and collective action and mutual aid, right? And so I'll have those disagreements, but I recognize that there are different strains of people politically within the labor movement, and so it would not be shocking that you would have a labor leader that has some of those social positions, okay? Like, I'm not naive, and I get it. It should not be the case that a labor leader can ignore labor abuses of working people. The biggest attack on union rights in the country's history. Like, that's just not something that labor leaders ought to be able to agree to disagree on. It is crazy. Let's continue.
You support unionization, you support organizing.
I would say I'm pro-worker. Pro-worker is the way.
You're not pro-union? Or
Well, I'm pro. I mean, to the extent those unions, a teachers' union again is the one example that I would tell you that I'm a little bit.
So you would support
shaky on, but everything else,
you would support workers' rights to organize.
Absolutely.
Form a union.
Absolutely.
Okay. Workers to collectively bargain outside of conversations you need to have with the teachers' union.
Outside the teachers' union, yes, because my philosophy is if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and it is working very well in the state of Ohio.
And that's it, folks. That's I mean, that's like his conversation on DOGE, his rapid fire union questions. That's what the segment was called on his YouTube thing. That was it. Now, again, to be fair, I like to be fair. I'm fair and balanced. He has a more of an extended conversation about the teachers union in Ohio, and he does push back against Vivek, and he pushes enough on, he's like, Vivek, I really don't think you're understanding where the teachers are coming from, and I don't think that you've had enough conversations with them, and I would love to be able to put you in touch with the leaders of the teachers union in Ohio so that you can have these conversations with them so that you can see what they're actually fighting for. And so, it's, look, that one, it's I just don't want the audience to get the idea that, like, oh, Vivek said this thing about the teachers union and Sean O'Brien was just letting that slide. They had previously talked about it earlier in the program, and it still was not as forceful as I think it could have been, but maybe Sean O'Brien was able to get a meeting with Vivek for the teachers union in Ohio. Maybe. And for that, I think that's well and good. But still, it's like, dude, this guy is running to be governor of Ohio, and like that's the extent of, you don't ask him about right to work. You don't, you don't ask him about if he's going to walk a picket line. You don't ask him about like tying incentives to respect for workers' rights. You don't ask him about anything like that. I mean, that's kind of nuts. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't understand it.
But again, President O'Brien, you're welcome to come on the show and talk to us about it. We'd love to hear your takes.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.